Beginning of the day, you always gotta set the song, set the tone for the day. Let's get it. I've been through these doors thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times almost. Through rainstorms, snowstorms, through life storms. Crazy. But the mission always stays the same. And that's to change as many lives as possible. So this is part one of the road to 10,000 sessions. My name is Navarrete. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a certified personal trainer, and I'm a corrective exercise specialist. So let's backpedal a little bit. I grew up watching Conan the Conqueror, the Terminator, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers. It's crazy how much your brain gets programmed when you're younger. So the hero's journey has always been second nature to me. You ask any trainer, any real trainer, it doesn't matter if their clients get results by a couple pounds or a few inches. Results are results. It was never really about the numbers. I'm not a big numbers guy. I'm not worried about this, that, or the third. My main concern has always been getting my clients the best results possible by any means possible, and doing it in a way that's safe for them, more or less not comfortable, because they're not going to be comfortable when you're getting results, but in a way that they understand that this is what they want and this is how we're going to do it in any environment, whether it's spirituality, whether it's fitness, but getting results. And a lot of that had to do with creating a space where they can feel comfortable coming to work out, looking forward to work out, being motivated to work out. And I'm very thankful that throughout the years I was able to provide that for them, no matter in the regard of where I went. Was able to create a space everywhere of this is what they're gonna get, this is how they're gonna get it, and the process that it took to get there. So for me, I was like any kid growing up in America. You believe this dream, you go to school, you do everything by the book, you get rewarded, right? I got admitted to one of the top high schools in, I think, the country. And I'll always love that high school because they let you be yourself. We often live in a world where you're crammed into a box. You have to fit this narrative, you have to fit that narrative. I was always too Mexican for Americans, and I was always too American for Mexicans. So for me growing up, there was nobody that looked like me, that was doing things like me, that I wanted to ever aspire to. I had no role models growing up. There was nobody I wanted to be or look up to because they weren't like me. And through that, I found myself. I was able to create the life that I wanted for myself and others. And I thought I was gonna do that up until high school. So while I was watching a lot of my peers, get accepted and go to the universities that they wanted to and follow their, parents' dreams and do what society wanted them to do, I found myself in the back seat of a harsh reality. My parents are very blue-collar people, always working. So there was a lot of stuff that I just had to figure out on my own. And one of those realities is that they didn't necessarily have the funds to put me through college or university. Yeah, sure, I got into every school that I wanted to. It's not a no-brainer, when you're doing these applications. But the harsh reality was I was not going to put myself into debt to chase a piece of paper in a system that I barely believed in. Nor was I going to make my parents put themselves into debt into a system that I barely believed in. So what did that left me? I was in what they call a gap year. Or I took a year off. I was at least afforded that that much to be able to figure things out. So while I'm doing that, that's when I really found, fitness and health and lifestyle. Up until that point, it was very alien to anybody in my family. Anybody growing up, there was nobody doing what I wanted to do. I didn't even know what it was that I wanted to do. All I know is that I wanted to help people change, and I always put an emphasis on that. I wanted to help people find their own power, because there's a lot of people out there that are very powerful, yet they don't realize it. And power never seeks power. Somebody that's truly powerful never goes out and tries to get more power, because it's always internal, and they always attract what they are, and you'll always attract what you are. So I got started. That's the route that I decided to take, unknowingly that it was going to lead to so much, and having built so much as a result of it. And I got back into school, started, studying biology, and in my head, okay, I'm going to be a naturopathic doctor. That's the field that I'm going to take. I'm going to study, I'm going to go to a school in Washington. I had this whole plan laid out, and I'm doing it. I'm in school, getting good grades. GPA was great, everything was great. Then
that's thriller. Boy, I'm about my thriller. All my niggas monkeys, we gorillas.
Yeah, we gorillas.
All my niggas clutching, we some hitters.
Boy, we some hitters.
Birds on my timeline.
Another harsh reality hit. At about 21 years old, my younger brother was diagnosed with cancer, a germ cell tumor to be exact. And what people don't teach you is how to deal with that while you're already doing other things that you think are for yourself. There's no really one way to manage things. You have to figure that out on your own, unless you have somebody that's gone through it to walk you through. I had nothing of that nature. So again, I find myself in a position where I'm going through something. There's no environment to support that because nobody's gone through it before. So what do? And back in my head, I know, okay, one day I'll be in a position to do the same thing for somebody that might be going through the same thing. So as a result of me having to go through another, resilient moment, I decided to, put that in the back of my mind, support my brother as much as he needed me to be. But also I decided now, okay, school has to take a back burner because I have to get a well-paying job now. So I decided, I'm going to be a certified trainer. So I go out and do that, and I loved it. I finally stepped into that responsibility and said to myself, okay, this is what it is. People want you to train them. That's what life is making you take the route. So instead of me forcing it out and saying no, being in denial, I had to fully step into it. Maybe I didn't want to at the time, but I had no choice because I wasn't going to let it beat me down, because why would it if I understood my purpose? So within that, it's now 2013. I'm 23 years old. My brother's already 2 years into, his battle with cancer. I'm doing my best to create a life and future for myself. At the same time, my brother's going through something. So the parallels are there. So as he's going through his chemo and his radiation and all that, I'm on the other side, meeting new people and helping them get through their goals. And on the back of my mind, I'm thinking about my brother, when he has to go through, while I'm listening to what they're going through and what they have to do. And the stage is being set for me, with whether I know it or not. And at that time, I didn't know it. So I progress. I'm getting busier with my clients. They're getting results. I'm getting everything that I want from me. I'm setting the stage for myself, the foundation. I'm doing the thing. I progress. I start to manage gyms. I had a specific gym in mind that I wanted to, quote unquote, be the director of, the program director. So I had a goal in my mind now while he's going through all this, right? So he's doing it, we're doing it. going through hospital visits in between breaks, sitting there while I was going through chemo, watching the side effects, powerless, you can't do anything. You gotta sit and watch. That's something they don't tell you, is how powerful and powerless you feel at the same time while you're doing something that you're supposed to know how to do. So we're going through the motions. I finally get that, promotion that I've been waiting for. I am now the director of this very specific gym that I wanted to be the director of. Because for me, if you're gonna do something, you might as well be the best at it, and you might as well lead and do it your way. So I'm in there maybe not even a year. My brother's condition gets worse. I start to fall back on that one thing that I wanted most out of anything up until this point. So I'm doing it, and then blam. It's like life pulls the rug out from underneath you. His condition worsened, and now he's given maybe a week left. And then at that point, you're left with, what the fuck do I do? And then again, another point of where you have to figure out how to do things without it being set for you. So I guess you could say everything really, really changed for me when I was 19. That 19th birthday was something special. I got my first tattoo on my 19th birthday on my back. And then I remember, it wasn't even a promise, I would say. I made a pact with myself that in this lifetime, I was gonna be the absolute best version of myself that could possibly live in, all timelines. Because I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in different timelines. But what was gonna be different is that I was gonna do it my way. Up until that point, I had seen so many people growing up do things or get into things that they really didn't want to do. And a lot of failures happen when you do things that you really don't want to do. Because unless you're living from yourself and within yourself, it's never really going to pan out the way you want it to be. So that's one of the main things I tell people, in this life coaching. Unless you're doing something that's for you and authentically for you, it's never going to pan out, no matter how many times you tried to do it. So within that time frame, I got really, really into bodybuilding. Like, I'll always be a bodybuilder at heart. I got into reading, the holistic encyclopedia, and that's when I found out about all the things that affect your hormones, the effects of xenoestrogens, estrogens in the male body, the different chemicals in the water that affect males, especially at a crazy rate that it's happening. And for me, I wasn't going to allow a toxic environment affect my body and my goals. So I went to work. I started reading the encyclopedia on what foods, and that's where I found, eating raw broccoli can raise your testosterone naturally without you having to take any additives or anything of that nature. But from then on, I was hooked. I was obsessed. And that summer, I put on about 30 pounds of muscle. So I went from being just very skinny, frail 160 to a pretty massive 190 pound guy. And nobody around me was doing that. There was no heavy gym culture. There was no Instagram. There was no social media, really. There was a little bit of Instagram, but the culture was never there. And I saw that, and I knew that there were other people like me that were really about it, but they didn't have a space or an environment where they can go and be themselves. Because it was always boxed in. You were either a meathead or you didn't know what you were doing. There was never the in-between. So what I did was I went on a mission. I said, all right, let's get to work and let's do this. So throughout that age, from 19 to maybe about 22, You know, people saw the results. The results speak for themselves. You're your own advertisement. And that's something that people need to understand, is that how you portray yourself is how the world responds to you. It's not the other way around. You don't respond to the way the world portrays you. How the world reacts is how you portray yourself. So within that, and it was never a goal for me. Training just happened. It wasn't even in my mind, the back of my mind, to be a trainer, to, you know, get into fitness professionally. You know, my mission was always the same. I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to help them see their own power. So that always remained the same. What had happened because of fitness, people saw me a certain way and wanted help. And in the beginning, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be responsible for other people's results or other people's goals or other people's anything. I didn't want to be responsible for anybody. You know, I had been going through a lot between the ages of 21 to 24. So that's where we're at in life. It's now July 2014. We're given that news. It's fucked up because if you have a sibling, if you're an older brother, you're supposed to be your brother's protector. That's what you're told from the minute they're born. You're supposed to take care of them. And in my head, how the hell am I supposed to take care of them if there's nothing that I can do? At this point, even with what I achieved in my short life, the thoughts are coming up. You know, the demons are speaking to you, telling you you're a failure. They're telling you didn't do your mission. All these things, you know, is going on in your head. You're like, how could you let this happen? The guilt starts to kick in. You know, the survivor's guilt was very real, even in these types of scenarios. And I'll never forget the last conversation me and my brother had. It was the 7th of July, you know, where we really talked about me taking care of things and me being okay with how things were going to go from here on out. And that it was okay for, you know, if he needed to go, if he needed to be in peace, then that was okay. You know, we really consciously talked about that. We sat down and we talked. And little did I know at that point, that's a little bit of what death doulas do. You know, there's another holistic approach to it. And another scenario of the environment not being set up for you or being what you need it to be, and you having to create that. And little did I know, 3 days later, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I would see my brother give his last breath for the last time. And again, nobody teaches you how to do that. When you're a man, you're always taught, you know, how men are supposed to act, perceive, treat other people. But then they never teach you, they'll probably never teach you how to deal with death. And I don't think there's any one way to deal with it. I think you have to create your own. And even in that sense, as prepared as you can be, as like consciously aware as you can be, as spiritually aware or attuned, whatever the fuck that means, you're never gonna really be prepared for it. You have to accept that it's gonna happen, but you'll never be ready to have it happen when it happens. So there we are at that point. Now everything's fucked up, right? Like, watch your own brother die in front of you. You don't know what you're doing. At that point, I am going to just quit everything that I'm doing, quit the dream job that I had, and just figure things out. Forget what I think I'm supposed to do, forget how I think I'm supposed to be. I'm done, I'm gonna drop it all. And then at that point, I just move away. I leave, I go out to California. I stayed out in Palm Springs for about 3-4 weeks, and in that sense and in that kind of space, I start to create another environment. I see how they're doing things in California. Now Instagram is big. Now social media is big. This is now 2014. I see what they're doing. I see how they're doing it. I'm going out to different gyms and meeting different people. I'm getting an interest in what a lifestyle is supposed to be like, quote unquote. And I start to think, okay, I kind of want that, but over here. So, and now I'm in the in-between. I don't have a job, barely have any money. Probably had $6 when I came back. So at that point, you're just starting all over again.
You've been afraid, I've been prepared since I was 10 years old. I'm a young god, that's word to Allah.
So now it's summer of 2014. Coming back, ready to come back, because you can't run away forever. At some point you gotta face who you gotta face. Whether it's a reality here, whether it's a reality there, you gotta deal with things as life intends you to deal with them, because that's when you find yourself. That's when success is really made, is when you're knocking on that door of being uncomfortable and you walk through it. That's how you know. That's exactly how you know you're about to head to the next level. So here I am, 24 years old. My brother just died. I'm trying to figure things out. I'm trying to figure things out for the future, because now I know what I want. Now I see it. Now the vision's complete. The whole vision is complete, 360. I'm already 2 years in of being a trainer. I have the experience. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. I know how I want to train my clients. I know what kind of success and results I want to get them. So here I am going through different interviews. This gym is whack. You don't know what they're doing at this gym. This other gym's terrible. I don't even want to train there. Even if I have no money, I have no money right now. So what am I going to do? But no. So as I'm having these thoughts, this process, I'll never forget it. I dream a lot, and my dreams are very, very vivid. And that's one of the gifts that I have, right? So I remember that week, I dreamt that I saw a high school friend in a gym, and it was a very studio-like gym, almost like the city. And I woke up that next morning, and then I texted him, because I knew he was in the, he was training, and at least he knew a little bit. He can give me a good route to follow. So I texted him, and just give me the runaround of where he was doing. He wasn't really direct, but he did tell me he was interning at this place called Chaos. And here I am thinking, holy shit, I love that name. My life is complete chaos. I fucking thrive in chaos. So I go to Google, I look it up. Englewood. I know Englewood. I can drive there. I can find my way there. I think I might have taken a bus there. I don't even know. No, I think I drove somehow. So here I am. Let me get my best resume. Let me just show what I have, because I don't know what I'm expecting. I'm looking it up. I looked up the name. I didn't look up anything else. So we walk through. We get there. And at this point, I know what I want. So I'm just hoping that these individuals want exactly what I want, or at least will let me build what I want. So as I'm going in, I have my resume in my hand. I'm seeing people come in. It's crazy in there. It's like crazy. I'm like, well, this is crazy. This is like a New York style studio, And I'm there. I'm watching. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, I can see myself training there, training my clients there. I feel good. As soon as I walk in the door, that's the key. That's the key. As soon as I walk in the door, I feel good. And, as I'm going in, I'm greeted by my boy that I didn't even know. Like, yo,
what's up, man?
Who's the HNIC over here?
So we back at 6.
Yo, I'll be back at 6. So he didn't like that at all. Little to my offense. had nothing to do with anything personal. I just was on a mission, and my boy just happened to be there to meet me on that mission. That's how it happens sometimes, is whether you realize it or not. When you're on a specific goal route, somebody somewhere with the same vision, with the same goal, is going to meet you halfway. Now, he could have completely brushed me off and said, you know what, we're not looking for trainers or anything. But something in him probably told him this might be something good. And the way that I am, I'm very stubborn. So even if he told me no, I was going to find my way in there regardless.
So when I started Chaos in 2012, very similar to Alex, I wasn't offered a job there. I kind of created my own job. I initially started just as a client, just working out. I would come in, I would work out, and then I would ask if I could do anything, if I could help, and I would just end up being there for hours. At the time, I had 4 jobs, so I was just working at Chaos per diem, like not even getting paid, but just getting paid in the opportunity to work out there for free. 2012, they asked me to be a trainer there. 2013, I get my first client. I started training, and I had a friend of mine at the time who was working at Chaos as well. So we created this energy that wasn't there. Like, it was very different what me and him created. But September 2014 comes along. He left to open up his own gym, and I want to say maybe like June. So at that time, I was kind of alone because me and him had created this energy that hadn't been in Chaos. Like, we had loud ratchet music. When you walked in, we had Migos playing. We were working out with our shirts off. Like, we brought this energy to this very clean-cut professional gym that hadn't been there. So in September of 2014, it was kind of just me. So at that time, they say everyone needs like a work best friend. So at that time, I was kind of looking for something new, and I was a little lonely. It's kind of cool to see Alex hitting his 10,000 session, because when Alex came to Chaos, I learned a lot from Alex that I didn't know about myself that helped me hit my 10,000 session. I'm very connected to just the physical. Like, exercise, training has always been something that's been instinctual to me. Like, a lot of these things come to me very naturally. But when I met Alex, he taught me to embrace spirituality. And you know how, like, when a rocket shit lifts in the air and it drops stuff off? It was like learning from Alex and sharing that friendship with Alex got me to embrace a lot of things I didn't realize I was holding on to. So I was able to combine that mind, body, spirit. And after 2015, it was like I took off, and that's when I became an owner at Chaos.
Yo, I'll always love Brian because Brian's like the good twin, I would call it. I'm always the evil one. I'm always like, yo, fuck it, let's just take their heads off. Brian's like, nah, but you gotta see, like that. So he'll always he'll hold that space for me. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be more level-headed, as where I'm like very quick to think like, no, you gotta do it like this. Or I'm like, no, you gotta plan, you gotta do this, I'm like, all right. So we'll always have that dynamic. You know what I mean? We always bounce things off of each other. You know, and I'll never forget like the countless. But people don't see. It's the most important thing. People don't see what it takes to get there. You know, from 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. We're doing all these events for free. We're going, taking our time to sit at the vitamin shops and bullshit. Sit there, try to get and teach as many people as we can what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. You know, our why always remained the same, but people don't see that. People don't see the months and days that, you know, you may not be all there mentally and like in good shape, but you have to get it together because there's so many people that are looking at you and up to you to guide them. And, you know, and I think that's what makes a great trainer is, you know, they put their stuff on the side, you know, and as much as I like to be in that space where I have to make myself be well, be good, I always have to put it aside for my clients, my friends, my family. So having gone through every single hardship you can think of up until this point, you know, it prepared me for what was to come, you know. And then meeting Brian, it gave me that, like, okay, we can do this, because there's nobody doing what we do. There will never be anybody doing what we do. And as a result, you know, I always say as a joke, but dude, we have so many grandkids because of it in this game. And, you know, and I say that very humbly, but not really. But that's just the way it is. And you know, people don't see that. People don't see all that stuff that it took to get to that point. And where we're at now, because we've gone through that, now we're able to mentor so many other trainers on how to do what we do without having to go through those necessary hardships, but to have that space of like, yeah, I got you, I've been through that, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you got no money right now, I know what it's like, let me help you out. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Oh, you got this specific problem? Okay, this is what you do. Okay, you need help on how to market yourself? This is what you do. Oh, you don't want to do that exercise? Do this one instead. It'll get everybody faster at a moving pace. And I think that's what it'll always be about. It'll always be about that environment. You know, we from 2014 when we met to 2020 now, 21, we've created that environment, and we'll continue to create that environment where you can come, you know you're going to be comfortable, whether you're a client, whether you're a trainer, you're a spectator, anything, you know what you're gonna get, because we are authentically ourselves. And when you're authentically yourself, you're always gonna get rewarded tenfold, because the world responds to how you are, again, not the other way around. And you're always gonna get what you deserve and what your worth is, because you're doing exactly like that. Like, what do you think is like the biggest thing? Like looking back at it to Brian in 2014 and Alex, like what's like the best thing that you think we've done, and what's like the funniest thing we've done?
I think the best thing we've done is that everything is so scripted now. Like if you go online and someone is going to tell you how to become like an influencer, there's like a script. But when we started, there was no script. We were making a script. we were literally making a script, but like we weren't doing it with the intention of getting anything out of it. We were just living. So I think the best thing that me and Alex have always done is like we've always been authentically ourselves. And what's funny is like the best thing and the funniest thing that we've ever done tie together, because a lot of times we just do stuff and it ends up being funny,
yeah.
But it's a hit. Like this one time we told everybody for 21 days we were gonna start wearing all black Air Forces. And we did it.
Nasties.
The black nasties. And then like after like day 11, people start saying like, yo, you know those black Air Forces don't look so bad.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that like the way we live is like we never do anything to get anything out of it. We're just living in the experience. Because we're being authentic, we get rewarded. And that's what's really been crazy. So I think the one thing I would tell Brian and Alex in 2014, which I think it took each of us different points in our lives to understand, is like, yo, just trust your gut. Because so many people along this journey tried to make us be different people than we were. And then once each of us like found our lane and like just trusted like Alex to be Alex and like Brian to be Brian, that's really when we took off.
That's exactly it. And I'll never forget the black nasties. We had these people. I'll never forget. I was in the barbershop with the black nasties on.
Yeah.
People didn't want to sit next to me. They thought two things. They either thought I was a DT or they thought I was like on some other shit. They're like, yo, where'd you get those? And they were asking me mad weird questions that they never would have asked me about if I didn't have them on. So I'll never forget that. Like, I'll never forget that moment. And I think it always goes back to like 2017. Like 2017, like I had just turned 27, where I was in the middle of being 27. How old are you, Jonathan? 28?
I was 28.
I'll never forget. We went to Miami, and we were sitting on that fucking Miami beach, and we were really, really talking about really introducing people into the holistic fitness, everything you can think of lifestyle that we already had created. And now we were ready to bring people in because we knew it worked. We knew how to make it work for anybody. And we were ready to introduce people at that point. And when we had that conversation and that like just the awareness that we were out, that we were gonna do things and change things, everything changed from there on out. From that specific thread, everything exploded tenfold. Whatever timeline we crossed at that point is when everything changed, and we really, really settled into our own space and settled into how we were gonna do things, but for real. Before it was just like we thought it was. We had a 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But as soon as that happened, we knew. Like, something happened and we knew. And you can never take that feeling away of us knowing what we know, because we know. That awareness is there, and no matter what, you cannot take that away. You cannot take that away.
Hitting 10,000 sessions was super important to me for a couple reasons. The first reason was just like, when you're a kid, your parents tell you that you gotta go to school, they tell you what kind of profession that you should choose. And for me, personal training was the first time I ever took my life in my own hands. I didn't go with a conventional job or anything like that. And I had to fight against so much of my family and my friends. So it was the first time I made a decision that, like, I'm gonna do this. And like, hitting 10,000 sessions signified that I did it and I excelled in it. The second reason hitting 10,000 sessions was important to me was just because, like, it signifies that you're a master at your craft. And for me, being a master at helping people is something that makes me feel great. And then the last reason that hitting 10,000 sessions was important is because when I came into this game, with the exception of Ali and Gene, not too many people helped me. But one of the things that I wanted to change about it is I wanted to be in a position to help other trainers coming up. So if I could learn what it takes to get to 10,000 sessions, I could share that wisdom with someone else rather than a lot of the people who didn't share for me. So for me, when I think about Alex hitting his 10,000 sessions, it touched my heart a little bit, because like, for me, like, a lot of Alex's life, he's lived for other people. But like, in the last 5 years, I've seen him live for himself and truly transform into who he is. So hitting 10,000 sessions like it did for me, it just signifies that Alex, like Frank Sinatra said, he did it his way. He won exactly how he wanted to. He didn't win how anybody else wanted him to. If you know Alex, Alex marches to the beat of his own drum, and that's really what that means. So I'm proud of him.
I think it always comes down to watching my brother and what he had to go through. He was only 19, living his life normal, healthy, doing everything that he wanted to do, and his destiny was, at that moment, to be cut short. Now, I see that in hindsight, and I have the awareness to know that your destiny is your destiny, and how you approach it and how you step into it authentically is completely up to you. Because he could have been somebody else and would have had the same result. Instead, he was himself and he had the same result. So guess what? I'm going to be myself the same exact way and have the same result that I'm going to get. So having gone through that and having seen people go through events like that, and I don't even call them traumatic events, I call them initiations. Having to see people do that, and having seen the thousands of people that I've seen throughout my life and coach them through their own, initiations, has thankfully brought me to a place where now my external is matching my internal even more. And again, it's never about the number. This was just an opportunity for me to create a space for people and get 10,000 different opportunities for people to get the results that they wanted by me being there for them and creating that space in whatever life was going to throw at them because of whatever I already had to have gone through. I'm thankful to have met Brian. I'm thankful to have met Gene and Ali and Brando and Danny, and Snetta and Georgie, even Randy, Gerard, all the new guys, Brian, Dylan, because I see a lot of myself in them. And that's one thing people don't teach you is you're never separate from anybody else. Your ego tells you you are, but in reality, everybody has skin, everybody has organs, blood, and this is how you should go through the world. And I'm not going to tell you that's what you should do. I'm going to tell you that's what you should do. And when it comes down to it, that's what helped me grow and elevate and be able to help so many people. So I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for tuning in. And I appreciate every single person that's ever walked through that door and thought to themselves, you know what? I trust him. I'm going to believe him. He's got my best interest, because I do. I'll always have your best interest because of what I've seen and what I've had to go through without having someone like me there. And I always wanted to create that for people, and that's always going to be my mission. Whether it's this, whether it's that, that'll always be the same mission. Wherever I go, I'm going to carry that same space for you by me.
Hey yo.